Chapter 426 Being Domineering. Zoro's face showed a hint of excitement. Obviously, I wanted to have a fight with the prostitute Taro below. Only Hawkeye's answer. But it made him a little depressed. Don't be happy there. With your current strength, unless you fight to the death, even you will not be the opponent of the ghost holding the bone side in both hands. Hawkeye's sharp eyes. I watched Taro for a long time. Finally, he turned to the rooftop of the fallen girl. Said lightly. Since they chose not to let us intervene in this battle, even if they were in danger and even died because of it, it had nothing to do with us. It would be great if they could complete the task. But if they are all killed by these two ghosts, it's not too late for us to take action to deal with them. However, at this dangerous moment, a figure staggering under his feet. But it appeared on the small building opposite. Surely formal. Yugu Tianyuan rescued his wife Hehei, whom he had previously taken action. After rushing to the battlefield, Shuhei discovered Yume Tianyuan and the charcoal wolf of the stove. He is fighting with the prostitute Taro of Winning String. She didn't think about it. Use the kunai camera directly. He sent a lot of kunai in the direction of the prostitute Taro. In an instant, countless toxic kuns painted with wisteria flowers were sucked out. What is bitterness? Taro, who is fighting. I also discovered the abnormality upstairs in an instant. But in his eyes. But he showed a look of doubt. Now, if he wants to concentrate on dealing with Yuxi Tianyuan, it's hard to get rid of these knots. Clean up all. Judging from the dense number, it feels very troublesome. And there were 3 little boys from the ghost-killing team on the side. In the eyes of Taro, even if you are stabbed by these kunai, it doesn't seem to be anything. Because ghost won't die because of this. Only. Now the enemy. Why do you need to make such a meaningless attack? The prostitute Taro is worthy of being the winning string land. I soon noticed the strangeness of the supreme kamikaze. No, these kunas are likely to be weird. Open black lens bracket vampire technique katakana middle dot domineering close black lens bracket. Thinking of this, Taro, the prostitute, instantly danced the 2 sickles in his hand. The bloody scythe slashed out in all directions. He blocked his whole body directly. What will fall towards you? 0.7 The dense number of bitterness blocked the body. The crane on the roof. I was stunned by the scene in front of me. This is the first time she has seen it. Someone can use slash to form a shield. However, although Hichihei's attack failed to work, but she gave Yuxi Tianyuan. Created a very good breakthrough opportunity. Chapter 427 Decompose Toxins. I saw Yuxi Tianyuan's body quickly crossing and up. Even on his arm. And on the face. All in the attack just now. Being stinged by kunai. But Yuxi Tianyuan didn't care at all. Hey, what's going on with this guy? He actually rushed over. Aren't you also being kunai? The prostitute Taro was immediately beaten by the man in front of him. The firm character shown was shocked. But thinking about it is, too. After all, this guy. But a ninja. And the swordsman he had met before. It's simply different. 27 even in the senses. All give people a different feeling. Puff. Caught out of defense. The legs of the prostitute Taro. He was actually cut down by Yuxi Tianyuan Hangdao. And at the same time. A kunai. It also stabbed his neck. What feet haven't regenerated? Sure enough, this thing that is covered with kuna must be something like wisteria flower, right? The prostitute Taro immediately discovered the abnormality of Kua Wusheng. It's exactly the same as what he had guessed before. In these bitter things. Sure enough, something was painted. Most likely. The extract extracted from the wisteria flower that is the least favorite of ghosts. And his body. At this time, paralysis occurred due to toxins. Swish. It was this moment of sluggishness. A figure rushed over. Surely it is. Before, I have been behind Yuxi Tianyuan. The passive defense of the Sana Tanjiro. He is ready to take advantage of this wonderful opportunity. A knife cut off the prostitute Taro's neck. However, on the face of the prostitute Taro. But he showed a grim smile. I didn't see that you really have some skills, but you can start to become coordinated in such a short time. It's really fun. You must know. These camis used by the Hindan crane are supreme. All are coated with special toxins made from wisteria flowers. These poisons. It is enough to make the whole body of the non-12 ghost months paralyzed for a long time. Even the ghost of the understring. After being poisoned by the chick, it will also be incapacitated. But who would think? But Taro, the prostitute, quickly completely decomposed the toxins in his body. Watching Tanjiro, who rushed towards his sauna, 580. And Yuxi Tianyuan and the other two. The smile on the face of the prostitute Taro. It began to become more and more intense. Oh, is this poison really powerful enough? Almost as the voice sounded. The arms and feet of the prostitute Taro were cut off. It was restored to its original state in an instant. At this time, Umi Tianyuan and Tanjiro Zaoman attacked. Still in midair. The prostitute Taro is far ahead of Yume Tianyuan. The detoxification speed of ghost in cognition. Quickly poison the wisteria flower in your body. All of them were successfully broken down. Chapter 428, Killing Wujian. However, this is just the beginning. Next second. Prostitute before the attacks of the two, Yutsutaro. He launched his unique fierce attack. Open black lens bracket vampire technique, round slash, flying blood scythe close black lens bracket. A swirling shaped bloody sickle. It swirled out from the arms of the prostitute, Taro. Strong offensive. And that huge range of action. Even Yuxi Tianyuan saw this. They were all shocked immediately. You can release a slash without waving your arms, and the range is so wide. Bang! At a critical moment. Yuxi Tianyuan turned around and kicked. Then Tanjiro Kawaman, who was almost dismembered by a blood sickle. He kicked it out from a distance. At the same time, he also directly launched a breath of sound to compete with it. Open black lens bracket sound breathing katakana middle dot C-type katakana middle dot roar slash Wujian close black lens bracket. It's like a storm. He swung out quickly from the two swords in Yuxi Tianyuan's hand. He faced the fishy red blood sickle coming from all directions. Rumble. Rumble. Terrifying explosions were heard one after another. The smoke of gunpowder spreads. Even the earth. They are all in this fierce collision. Then it kept trembling. When Azuki Tenyuan completely released the remaining power of the prostitute Taro. When all blocked. But suddenly discovered. The other person's figure. It has disappeared long ago. However. A strong breath. But it came from the location of the young crane on the roof. Yuxi Tianyuan quickly turned around and looked. But I saw the figure of the prostitute Taro. Like a ghost. He actually appeared behind Hinahi out of thin air. And the latter at this time. But it seemed that he didn't realize that the danger was approaching. Still full of anxiety. He shouted at Yuxi Tianyuan below. Sir Tianyuan, don't worry about me first, find out that ghost first. But Hinari hasn't finished speaking yet. A big hand of a prostitute Taro. It was already on her hood. Hey, you are a woman who is very brave. The prostitute Taro said in a sinister way. You really have you dare to use that kind of poisonous thing to plot against me. Now I'm going to settle the score with you. Obviously. He has just been killed by Umi Tianyuan and Tanjiro Zaoman. The sin of cutting off the arms and feet. All were transferred to Hinari. Himi Crane. Umi Tenyuan saw his beloved wife fall into the hands of the prostitute Taro. Suddenly he was shocked. However. When he wanted to rush to the roof. When saving your wife. But his actions were blocked by several ribbons. For a moment. There is no way to clone it. Looking at his wife who is about to be killed. Yuxi Tianyuan's mind. Gradually recalling it. Conduct before performing this task. His 3 wives. The words I said to him. Chapter 429. Be an ordinary person. Lord Tianyuan, please retreat to the second line after defeating the winding ghost this time. From now on, let's live with the three of us as ordinary people, right? Close black lens bracket. Although the lives we have taken away as ninjas will not come back to life. But you still have to make a good break with the past. Otherwise, you will be ashamed and unable to continue living in the sunshine. Close black lens bracket. Even if at that time, there are probably less than 4 people to welcome that moment together, the three of us will not have any complaints at all. Close black lens bracket. When I think of my reasonable wife, he will soon die in front of his eyes. Yuxi Tianyuan's heart. A strong sense of powerlessness suddenly appeared. As a sound column. He can't even protect his own woman. This is really ridiculous and sad. I guess the prostitute Taro. It is precisely because of this. That's why he suddenly attacked Hinahei. He not only wants to kill Umi Tenyuan and Tanjiro Zaoman. At the same time. Before that. To completely break their confidence first. Then slowly. Tear their bodies bit by bit. That's all. Only then can you bring the jealousy and anger in the heart of the prostitute Taro. Completely smooth. And at this time. Also anxious were Tanjiro Kawaman. Tanjiro, the sauceman who had just gotten up in the ruins. After seeing the dangerous scene in front of you. I can no longer care about my own injuries. After getting up. Then he rushed to the roof desperately. Move quickly. Someone is going to be killed, and some are going to be killed in front of him. No matter what, just by quickly getting closer and jumping onto the roof should you save Hinari. Even if you don't have the power to defeat this winding ghost, at least you have to come in handy in this battle. Maybe because I am just a weak person who is not alert at all, neither the Fulcator nor the prostitute Taro in front of me took me seriously at all. At this time, as long as you can do something more than they expected, maybe only me can save the Chin Crane. At this moment, it seems that only by using the God of Fire can you reach that distance, right? It's not possible. Once you use this breathing method, you will immediately lose the strength to stand firm. What should I do? Hurry up, and what should I do? What should I do? We must come up with a solution sooner, and we must come up with the most useful method that I can do, and what I can do. Otherwise, everything would be too late. Tanjiro Zaoman kept encouraging himself. However, his feet, but it seems like it has been filled with lead. Chapter 430. Hawkeye takes action, a human being stronger than the winding. Now. Even if Tanjiro Kawaman wants to move half a step. It all became extremely difficult. The death of Hinari. In their eyes. It seems to be a foregone conclusion. Only. At this critical moment. In the dark night sky. Suddenly a huge blue sword energy flashed. From far to near. It is extremely fast that ordinary meat eyes cannot catch. Moment. Then he cut the prostitute Taro in half. Meanwhile. The street below is also damaged. Whether it is a house. It's still the ground of this flower street. All of them were greatly affected at the same time. A very deep gully was left. Puff. The body of the prostitute Taro. It was split into 2 halves in an instant. And he held the arm tightly on Hinahei's throat. Also in this huge slash. It was then cut off. Thump. Hinari's body rolled directly onto the ground. Although I fell heavily. But fortunately. Successfully escaped from danger of life. What a terrifying slash. Is that kind of power really a height that humans can reach? Although the prostitute Taro's body. It was soon merged together. But on his face. But it was full of horror. Then turn your head. Looking into the dark night sky. At the top of a tower that just now appeared. Being a winding ghost. Taro, a prostitute, naturally has night vision ability that is like daytime at night. So. It's easy for him. Then he saw the figures of Hawkeye and Zoro standing proudly on the roof. And Hawkeye is now. He is also tying his huge black knife. Put it back behind. That blow just now. He did not use the drug-killing team to create the Hydroop-killing sword for him. Because it's not about cutting off the ghost's neck from close range. 0. So no matter which knife you use, they can't kill prostitute Taro. And Hawkeye's intention. It was to save Yuxi Tianyuan's wife. Ghost killed team a favor. And Hawkeye also tells them this way. In fact, he and Zoro had arrived here long ago. It's just that I didn't take action. Don't treat him and Zoro as easy to bully guys because of this. I have to say, Hawkeye's meaning conveys the past very well. Damn it, are those two guys also members of the Ghost Kill team? What a powerful swordsman. The slash he just now should have been released by him, right? Is that guy really a human being able to leave such a deep and huge ravine on the ground? How can there be a human being with more powerful strength than the winning ghost? This is absolutely impossible, but how do you explain the slash just now? Chapter 431 The Incomparable Dragon Empire. But, if you distinguish them from the smell, those two guys are obviously really humans. At this moment, the prostitute's body was too wolf. He trembled slightly unconsciously. This is probably him. In my life, I have no misery in the face of the Ghost King Ghost Dance. And the child mom who gave them the siblings the identity of Ghost. Only time. I feel trembling when facing humans. But there is no way. Hawkeye's strength is too strong. So much so. Even though the two are nearly 1,000 meters apart. The prostitute Taro can still capture it keenly. That fleeting breath of death. That man. But it's much better than what he's fighting with now. Sound pillar Yuxi Tianyuan is much stronger than the top. If he takes action, then the Prudo Taro will surely die in this battle. Saved. Yuxi Tianyuan first came back to his senses from the shock. The strong figure rushed forward. Then he rushed directly to Hinahei. I looked quite frightened. But his wife is not worried about life. Yuxi Tianyuan's face. A very complicated look appeared. Although his eyesight is not as good as that of the prostitute Taro. It can be on the dark night. Capture things thousands of meters away. But just relying on the huge slash just now. And what followed? That sharp aura. He can basically determine. The one who took the attack just now. It should be one of the two swordsmen sent by Yu from Dragon Empire. Thinking of this. Yuxi Tianyuan's face. I couldn't help but smile. Murmur. I didn't expect you to find this place so soon. What I didn't expect was that your strength was so strong. Just relying on the slash just now, even if I take all my strength, I shouldn't be your opponent at all, right? Yuxi Tianyuan is now. For Yu. And the strength of that mysterious and powerful Dragon Empire. Completely convinced Zero. The other party just sent two swordsmen. Then it showed. Such a powerful strength. This is before Yuxi Tianyuan. I never expected it. Original. He was hearing about Sauron. Help Purgatory Atsuro get rid of Akaza who is Wind String 3. Yuxi Tianyuan still naturally believes that. It was Zoro who tried everything in Purgatory Apricot after Force, pick up the gap. That's what you can do. I felt a little ashamed of the two men sent by Yu. But today. It's just a casual blow from Hawkeye. It directly shattered all the pride in Yuxi Tianyuan's heart. 1.8. Because. He knew very well. Even if he uses the strongest move in Breath of Sound. It cannot be made at all. It can be compared with the attack that Hawkeye just now. I have to say. Facing Yu's Dragon Empire. Ghost killing team seems so small. Chapter 432 Tanjiro's Jealousy. However. It is obviously not a good time to think about these things now. Hawkeye did not show up. At the same time. The other party did not continue to attack. That means. Hawkeye and the other two don't want to intervene in Ghost Killing Team for the time being. Fight with this winding ghost. They obviously want to. Yuxi Tianyuan and the others made a final decision with these two winding ghosts. If they can't seize this opportunity. So. I guess these two swordsmen will take action. Directly kill these two winding ghosts on the spot. What a ironic scene. 03. Yuxi Tianyuan smiled bitterly on his face. Even if the leader gave birth to Shikia Yoshia, I guess I couldn't imagine it. Is this the current situation? These two swordsmen sent by the Dragon Empire. I didn't take Ghost Kill Team seriously at all. And with the strength of their Ghost Killing Team pillars, I'm afraid it's under Mr. Yi Yu's. Even a formal general cannot be obtained, right? Yuxi Tianyuan shook his head immediately. Now is not the time to think about this. It's time to make a final end with the ghost opposite. After placing the chick in a safe area aside, Yuxi Tianyuan lifted his two swords towards the prostitute Taro on the roof. A new round of offensive was launched. Today, even if you die here on the spot, he definitely wants it, too. Regain the last look for Ghost Killing Team. And at the same time, Tanjiro, the stove below. It seems that I have noticed this scene too. In my mind, Yi Yu's figure appeared again. Looking at the building that was directly split by the slash just now, and the dilapidated streets, Tanjiro Zaoman's eyes suddenly turned red. It's true that Guy's subordinate, and even his style of doing things is exactly the same. They don't care about the lives of others at all. How many innocent people are involved in this episode? What's the difference between their behavior and the two ghosts opposite each other? Who can imagine it? At this dangerous moment, the virgin disease of Tanjiro Zaoman. It actually started to attack again. But such emotions. But it also inspired the last bit of fighting spirit in his body. Let him perfectly merge Breath of Water 343 and Divine God of Fire. This creates a brand new respiratory method, mixed breathing. In terms of attack power alone, it is stronger than the previous Breath of Water. At the same time, it can be used more lasting than when you simply use the God of Fire. You must know. For a long time, swordsmen fighting ghost. Basically, this kind of change will be made. Study your breathing and sword skills that suit you. Change those inherent moves. Thus, the integration of. Only by making it possible to best exert its strength. Chapter 433 Fusion Breathing. It must be because of this. Types of respiratory method. It will become more and more. If Tanjiro Zaoman wants to cross the threshold of strength, reach the level of column, then you must find out the breathing method and sword technique that are most suitable for you. Then practice the form that best exerts one's own strength. And the current Sana Tanjiro. For the time being, I can't be like Fugong's righteousness. Practice water breath to the extreme. But as long as the two respiratory methods are integrated, it will burst out with another powerful force. This is Tanjiro, Sosman. What you need most now. So. Tanjiro Zaoman roared. He also joined the battle between Umi Ten-Yuan and prostitute Taro. And on the other side, Inosuke and my wife Samono. In the battle with the fallen girl. It has also entered a white-hot stage. Only. Both of them knew in their hearts. If we cannot cut off the heads of these two brothers and sisters together, then no matter how many times you try, no one can eliminate the difficult female ghost in front of you. But the two of them disturb each other while avoiding. Only then can we barely avoid all attacks. But if you just passively avoid the attack, it's useless at all. If the opportunity cannot be found, shorten the distance between them. And if you cut off the neck of the Suli, then even if he and my wife, Simon Yam, persist for a long time, what's the use? Damn it, if I could use it, I would be able to use it, like the powerful slash, like the giant slash just now. Jupiter Inosuke shouted with envy. Obviously. He was also amazed by the hawk's casual slash just now. No way. That scale. That distance. That speed. That power. With just one blow, the winding ghost was split into two sharp edges. But it is not something that ordinary people can do. No. I'm afraid even Ghost kill the pillar level strongman in the team. Maybe no one can do it, right? Hey, Inosuke, calm down quickly. My wife, Shanyi, suddenly spoke loudly and reminded. It's useless to just worry, because there's no need for us to cut off their heads at the same time. We just need to keep the necks of these two ghosts in a broken state. Whether the opposite side cut off the head of the ghost first, or we cut off her head first, in short, don't give up and continue to attack. Encouraged by my wife, Cecilia. The two immediately launched a new round of attacks on the Soji. And at this time, under the threat of Hawkeye's huge slash, the action of the prostitute Taro. But it was greatly restricted. Chapter 434 changed the plan. At least it is Taro, who is extremely restricted in his heart. In a brief moment, they were already quickly approached by Umitien Ueniu and Tanjiro Zaoman. Bang! Bang! The sword blade of the prostitute Taro in the hands of the two. When it was about to cut to your neck, use the bone sickle in your hand directly. He held the hydroop knife in the hands of both of them. He, just you two want to cut off my neck. Impossible, because that's simply a fantasy. The bone side in the hands of the prostitute Taro locked the blades of the two. Countless blood meet 907. It starts from the bone sickle. Shang Yuxi Tianyuan and Tanjiro Zaoman proliferate on the blade. The sun slash in the hands of both of them could not even move. Only. Just at this time of danger, Yuxi Tianyuan used his other hand. Waving another hydroop knife, he stabbed towards the back of the prostitute Taro's neck. However, almost the moment Yuxi Tianyuan waved his sword, prostitute Taro's neck, it turned 180 degrees out of thin air. Then opened the gaze. With sharp teeth, he bit the tip of the rider knife that Yuxi Tianyuan stabbed. No matter how hard Yuxi Tianyuan tried, it cannot move at all. Open black lens bracket winning ghost close black lens bracket the unparalleled strange powers possessed by. It's not them, at all. At least not the human in this world. What can be compared with it? Next second. In the arms of the prostitute Taro. Two bloody sickle storms were released again. And at this critical moment, Yuxi Tianyuan stepped down violently under his feet. Then he grabbed the prostitute Taro. He smashed downwards. He knows. If you continue to stay where you are, then Tanjiro, who was under the control of weapons, would almost certainly die. So, the more dangerous the moment. As a sound pillar, the more you have to stand up. Mr. Yuxi. Tanjiro Zaoman was shocked. However, before he could react from the shock just now, in the air, several sharp ribbons. He was already slashing towards him and Hinari. Bang bang bang. Bang bang bang. At the critical moment, UK Inosuke and my wife Samono arrived immediately. Swing the knife to bring ribbons from all directions. All blocked. This gave Tanjiro Sakaman and Hinatomi a little breath. Damn, it's a pity that I have to change the combat plan now. I'm so angry. We two can't get close to that earthworm girl at all. From now on, the three of us will deal with her together, and then that mantis ghost, please give the uncle one by one first. UK Inosuke yelled angrily. Chapter 435 joined forces to deal with one. If it's not really impossible. With the character of Hirai Nosuke. But I will never take the initiative to say such words. Yes, this ghost is much weaker than that sickle man. My wife spoke up with kindness. He said anxiously. Let's join forces to cut off her neck. Tanjiro. Can you still move now? Active. Tanjiro, who came to his senses, nodded quickly and said. But Mr. Yuxi seems to have been hit by the enemy's toxins, and the situation is also very dangerous. We must decide the outcome as soon as possible. Bang bang bang. Boom 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 boom. Just as the three of them were talking, several bloody scythes spiraled upwards. He almost slashed at Tanjiro, the other three. The three of them were immediately shocked and sweated. The current situation. It can really be described as extremely dangerous. If they are not careful, it's easy to suffer directly. Even if there is the obstacle of Yuji Tianyuan. But the attack of the prostitute Taro. I can still reach the roof. Its power. It should not be underestimated. You don't have to care about me, I'll find a place to hide and you will concentrate on fighting. Hina knows that she can't help anymore if she continues to stay here. So, without waiting for Tanjiro Kaoru and others to speak, she ran backwards. He shouted. You just need to think about how to defeat Yuji now, and then go and help Lord Tianyuan quickly. After saying that, her figure jumped off the roof. It soon disappeared into the dark streets. Ah ha 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 ha. The arrogant laughter of the Fulver girl. In the dark night sky. Resounds through the sky. She while controlling dozens of ribbons. He kept attacking Tanjiro, the other three. While mocking with disdain, he said. I said that your actions seem to be getting slower and slower. Oh. Let me guess who will be the first dead person. Everyone, be careful, this ghost's neck is very soft, and ordinary attacks can't cut her neck. When Tanjiro Kaoru saw that Yuhei Inosuke was about to start to be reckless again. 0. So while swinging the knife blocks the oncoming attack, he shouted. If you want to cut off her neck, you must cut her at an extremely fast speed or from multiple directions together. With his reminder. Inosuke and my wife Samono. I really feel like I realize it suddenly. Soon. Inosuke Yoshihira captured an excellent offensive opportunity. The ribbon that was hitting Tanjiro at the sauceman. It seems to be more attacking the two of them. A little bit relaxed. Then. Inosuke Yuke decided to seize this opportunity. Chapter 436 The Scattered Toon Bite. As you rush forward quickly. While flashing and moving from the ribbon's attack. Jupiter Inosuke shouted loudly. If you attack from multiple directions, just leave it to me, or Daliu. The three of us will definitely win this earthworm girl. I see. Tanjiro Kaoru focuses on the key points. Then he said kindly to my wife beside her. Zenyi and I are responsible for protecting the safety of both sides of Inosuke. Okay, just leave it to me. My wife, Shanyi, also responded. However, the opposite Ji was not interested at all when he heard this. In her opinion, these three little guys are completely crazy. He actually wants to defeat her in this state. Isn't it just an ugly monster? Useless. The fallen hero immediately launched a new round of crazy offensive. I'm going to get on, follow me closely. Open black lens bracket beast breath katakana middle dot 8 type katakana middle dot explosion progresses close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket water breath katakana middle dot 3 shaped katakana middle dot flower dance close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket thunder breath katakana middle dot 1 type katakana middle dot thunder blink 8th company close black lens bracket. Under the cover of the gorgeous offensive of Tanjiro Kazuno and my wife Simone. The ribbon that originally attacked Inosuke. All were blocked by the two. Or cut off from it. And Viagra Inosuke uses the beast's breath. In a completely defensive posture. Continuously accelerate forward. In his eyes. There is only one thing at this moment. That is to cut off the neck of the Fulk-G. And those lives-threatening ribbons around. Let them all be left to Tanjiro Zaoman and my wife Simone. That fierce attack. In an instant, Duji was trembling at it. This guy actually gave up his defense and rushed straight over. Duoji's face was in disbelief. There are actually humans who are not afraid of death. However, just at the moment when she hesitated, the figure of Inosuke he had already rushed to her. 2. Hydroop knife, in your hand. From two directions. He slashed at the neck of Duji. How could it be possible to cut my neck so hard that I could cut it off with such a ragged knife? The fallen girl retreated again and again. She couldn't believe it. These three stinky little guys in front of you. It can really achieve such a kind of tolerance. Especially the pig-headed boy in front of him. It must be successful this time. Open black lens bracket beast breath katakana middle dot Lugia katakana middle dot Ruanchan's bite close black lens bracket. Inosuke Tori came closer. The two-piece hydroop knife in your hand that is filled with 0.9 and has a gap from two directions. Like two hand saws. Keep pulling back and forth quickly. In the blink of an eye. The neck that could turn into a ribbon of fulgus. Cut it down directly. That's great, Inozu really succeeded. Yes, that guy actually did it. Chapter 437 Sudden Attack. It's really amazing. His sword is like a saw, and it's directly cut off the ribbon that cannot be cut off even if it is an ordinary hydroop knife. Tanjiro Zaoman's face was suddenly overjoyed. And just as he exclaimed, Uk Inosuke jumped up suddenly. Jump into the air. He threw the head of the Fulmi directly. Take it one by one. Just take her head far away. I guess she can't take it back, right? Suddenly, inspiration bursts out. Holding the head of the fallen girl. Then he ran towards the rear. Randomly ran and shouted at Tanjiro, who was slapped at the back of the O3-faced Kazunori, who was yelling. Anyway, I'll run around with her head first. You two, hurry up and help that uncle. I understand, Inosuke, you should be careful too. Tanjiro Kaoru came to his senses. He nodded quickly to answer. However, how could Duji watch his head be taken away? You damn wild boar, why don't you let me go quickly? While constantly swearing, manipulating your hair, he kept attacking Yuhei Inosuke. Just such an attack. For the extremely sensitive five senses, Inosuke. It's nothing at all. A few times. He then cut off Duji's hair directly. Wow, ha ha ha, such an attack is useless to me. As he watched Inosuke run forward constantly. While laughing proudly, he said. Although you can't die now, if the weakness of your neck is cut off, your strength will indeed become weaker. Quote. Ha 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 ha, I seem to have discovered some amazing useful information. However, just watching the smile on Inosuke's face. It's still time to converge. Above his moon Hungarian chamber. A severe stinging pain came. Puff. A sharp bone sickle. He actually pierced out from behind his back. It was the prostitute Taro who rushed over quickly. His speed. But it has a very fast speed that is far faster than sound pillar Yuxi Tianyuan. So. Once he has his eyes on Inosuke. Then the other party naturally has no choice. As planned. Successfully took Fuji's head away. Damn Inosuke, where did he hurt at 097? If the heart is pierced, then. Tanjiro, who was in the distance, was shocked when he saw this. You must know. If it is hid by the bone side in the hands of the prostitute Taro. That would be poisoned. And the wound that Inosuke was stabbed. It looks so close to the heart. Very likely. There is no time to rescue. Inosuke Tohoku will die here directly. But. That guy Taro. Before this. You are obviously fighting with Mr. Yuxi on the other side. Chapter 438, Shamanic. Why did he suddenly come here? Tanjiro Zaoman's heart sank violently. It seemed as if I noticed something. He turned his head suddenly to look down on the ground. His eyes also widened. Because. I saw the sound pillar Yuxi Tianyuan at this time. He was slumped on the ground weakly. Life and death are unknown. And his left wrist. And in a piece of blood. He was cut off by the prostitute Taro. In just this moment of dazedness. On the headless corpse of Fulver. Then he emitted several attacks. The house in the area where Tanjiro Kazuoman is located. All collapsed. My wife, Shang-Yi, was directly buried by rubble. Rumble. In just a few seconds. The situation has changed drastically. And when the stove door Tanjiro. When you get up from the ground again. But he was shocked to find out. The prostitute Taro didn't know when. He has come to him. What, a weak guy like you is still alive? The prostitute Taro laughed strangely. While slowly squatting down. His face was full of extreme disdain and contempt. No way. In his eyes. Small garbage like Tanjiro, Sauceman. I don't deserve to continue living in this world. Death is the best ending. You're such a lucky guy. It's just that apart from some luck, you don't seem to have any other advantages at all. It's so pitiful that everyone except yourself is almost dead. That pig-headed little devil was stabbed into the moon-hunting chamber by me. And that yellow-haired little ghost was directly pressed down by rubble, and was complaining at the moment. So I decided to let him struggle to death. It's ugly, right? And your pillar is really weak. The light has momentum, like a paper tiger. But that thing that momentum cannot be regarded as an attack power to make him attack his heart by poisonous gas. His heart has stopped beating and is now dead. It's so ugly, it's so ugly. You guys, ghost hunters, looked really ugly before they died. Especially for you, the one you carry on your back that is about to fall out of the box should be your blood relative, right? I know that I have become a ghost and the blood is still so close. So, is she your sister or sister? Facing the repeated questions from the prostitute Taro. Tanjiro Kaoru. It's all ready now. He fell into a state of complete confusion. He was a little confused. Why didn't the other party kill him directly now? Is this unscientific? Chapter 439, Not Protecting Her Well. With the current state of Tanjiro, all hands and feet have entered a state of paralysis. Even if he can now mention Hydroop knife. Even if the other party stretched over his neck and asked him to chop it. Tanjiro, now. It also completely cut the other party's neck. Think about it. Tanjiro Zaoman finally had to answer truthfully. Miduzi is my sister. Hey, I know. It's true that you're so dissatisfied. You didn't protect your sister at all. The mockery on the face of Taro 440. It became more and more intense. Punch a pair of bone sickles in your hand into the ground. Taro, the prostitute, pointed his finger at Tanjiro Kawaman's nose and said. But there is no way to do this. After all, you are a human being, and your sister is a ghost. So of course your strength is weaker than your sister. But even so, your performance is still ugly. As a brother, you can't let your sister protect you in turn. What you should do is stand up at any time and take the initiative to protect her. You have to use these hands to protect her. Taro, the prostitute, said as he spoke. He actually pulled up Tanjiro Kaoru's right hand. Then, bounce it hard. Click. Tanjiro's two fingers of the sauceman twisted and turned, it became shaped. Ah! Severe pain. It immediately made Tanjiro Zaoman's breathing difficult. The mockery of the prostitute Taro. But it's not over. It seems like I finally found a sense of superiority. The prostitute Taro actually spoke in a high tone. While whipping Tanjiro Kawaman's head with his hands. While insulting, sexually speaking. Hey, how are you feeling now? Your sister is your only life-saving straw, right? It's just a pity that she has exhausted her strength. I said you were a slut, a waste, a coward who is slow to react. Why did you want to be born with useless things? What the hell are you going to do? Take your human body that is so weak that it can't help but be weak, and you can't even get weaker, and try it out. Come on. Come on. You're going to chop it. Facing the constant ridicule of prostitute Taro. Although Tanjiro Zaoman always kept silent. But his hands. But trembling. He reached towards the Hydra knife that fell to the ground. Hey, right. At a critical moment, you can't stand up. You are really ugly, you are really ugly. Chapter 440 Turn you into a ghost. But then again, although ugly, I don't hate it. Because I like miserable and dirty things the most. The dirty scar on your forehead is very good, I like it very much. By the way, how about I turn you into a ghost too? In this way, you can reunite with your sister for your sake. Taro, seemed to have discovered something particularly interesting. The originally ferocious look on his face. Suddenly. It turned into a schadenfreudigen laugh. Continue to say to Tanjiro Seigo. That's right, this method is really good. If this is the case, aren't all the problems solved? If you become a ghost, then even if we are companions, I will naturally spare your life. Otherwise, I can only kill you brothers and sisters together. After all, that's not my sister, I don't care about other people's sister. However, just as the prostitute Taro put down all his defenses, I teased Tanjiro Kaoru to the fullest. Duoji, who was sitting on the roof of the room watching the show, suddenly spoke with an unhappy face. Hey, brother, stop quickly. It's so annoying. I will never let the two hateful guys turn into ghosts. For the fallen goddess. Whether it is Tanjiro. Still a bean. They are all people who abused her before. So, naturally, she couldn't accept that these two enemies had become ghosts. However, the prostitute named Taro who is already playing at this moment. It seems like it's already deeply trapped in it. Ignore my sister's protests directly. Continue to smile and say, as long as you become ghost, your strength will become stronger in an instant. You can say goodbye to the unfree meat body. How about you? What do you want to choose? 0. If you think you are not willing to be as weak as you are now, right? When humans sigh, they always look up at the sky so that they don't let their tears flow. However, 0. But at this moment, Tanjiro Kaoru. Take a deep breath. Then slowly raise your head. Just when the prostitute Taro thought he was holding back his tears. For Tanjiro. But at this moment, he suddenly looked towards the head of the prostitute Taro in front of him. A heavy head hammer hit him. Bang! Faced with such a powerful blow, Taro, the prostitute, didn't care about it at all. In his opinion, this is just a way for Tanjiro Sakaman to reveal himself to give up. And this power of human beings. And that humble attack. For the prostitute Taro. There is no effect or threat at all. Chapter 441 The Final Counterattack. However, almost the moment when the prostitute Taro was hit. His body. But it was extremely unexpected. Swaying to the ground. Hey, brother, what are you doing? Get up quickly. The Fulgami on the roof was shocked. Based on her knowledge of prostitute Taro. Like that ordinary header. He couldn't hurt his brother at all. But now. What the hell is going on? Let alone fall into the deceased genius. Now. Even the prostitute Taro himself. They were all confused. Because. The moment he was hit by Tanjiro Kawaman. He was shocked to find out. Your own body. He couldn't move at that moment. This feeling is strange. But. No matter how you look at it. None of them were the consequences of the head hammer of the opposite human. Is it fake to hit the stone with egg just now? What's wrong? Is this right? After looking around. Taro, finally, was on his left leg. The root cause of temporary paralysis in his body was discovered. That's a kuna with wisteria flower toxin. This knot is gone. I'm afraid it was just used by Tanjiro Kawaman the moment when he hit him with a head hammer. They stabbed together. If nothing unexpected happens, it must be the female ninja who was not killed by him before. Leave it to the boy opposite. But this guy on the other side. It looks so weak. It's obviously just a human. Why has it been hurt like that? Still have this kind of perseverance. Even if he is the only one left now. Why didn't he give up? I have clearly seen such a big power gap. Why doesn't he surrender? Why do you still want to defeat me with such a firm will? Turn out to be. Before the time of protecting Hineki escaped 0. Tanjiro Zaoman got a handful of kuna with wisteria flower toxin. In order to improve success rate, he first cut the sachet given to him by Li Shawajiyu. Used to cover up the supreme smell of kamikaze. Then he kept tolerating restraint. Until the moment when Taro completely let go of his guard because of his arrogance. He used his head hammer to make a erbium. Kyuwu was stabbed out at the same time. Facing such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Just at the moment when Proteo Taro was paralyzed. Tanjiro, the opposite sauceman, did not hesitate at all. End the severe pain all over my body. And the pain of the broken finger on the right hand. Pick up the hydroop knife on the ground 1.8. With the help of divine god of fire. Toward the prostitute Taro's neck. Then he chopped down heavily. That's right. He wants to win. He must win. Tanjiro Kaoru just wants to defeat the wind string land in front of him. I also want to defeat Hawkeye, who had just swung the terrifying blow. Chapter 442 You Must Not Lose. And in Tanjiro Sawamon's memory. The almost invincible Yi Yu. So. At least he can't lose in this battle. Because the whole body is still in a state of paralysis. So the prostitute Taro is on his neck. After receiving huge power. He actually hit the ground directly. It forms an effect similar to a broken head. Oh ah ah ah. The Tanaro from the sauce gate let out a long roar. And desperately waved the hydroop knife in your hand. I wanted to cut off the head of the prostitute Taro directly. Even if Yuxi Tianyuan has fallen. Even if you are no helper of Hirai 03 and my wife, Samono. It fell down the same way. He also wants to complete this difficult mission. Want to win. Must win. They ghost killed team. We must win this victory. You must not let Yi Yu and Dragon Empire despise the ghost-killing team. With this obsession in my heart, Tanjiro Kaoru takes all his strength. All were used at this moment. However, reality is undoubtedly extremely cruel. As the wind of the string, the prostitute's neck is too wolf. Obviously unusually hard. And looking at Taro, the prostitute who was chopped down to the ground by himself. Tanjiro's heart. At this time, a trace of trance appeared. If then, even if he took a wrong step, maybe the position at this moment, it will be completely opposite to now. It should be like this, right? He is lucky enough. This is the only way to maintain the human body. If you're not lucky, I'm afraid he and Miduzi have all become ghosts. But even if he falls into a ghost, I guess there will be members of demon-killing team. Cut his neck. Thinking of this, Tanjiro Zaoman's mind became much stronger. For the sister. To win respect. This battle. He must not lose. Wait a minute, brother, don't be cut off by that guy. The fallen girl on the roof saw this. Suddenly he was shocked. She never expected that. The brother who just now has the absolute advantage. Why in the blink of an eye? He was chopped to the ground by that useless guy. Now that the neck is about to be cut off by the other party. No. She absolutely does not allow that kind of thing to happen. Thinking of this. Swish 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 swish. More than a dozen ribbons attacked from behind the fallen hero quickly. He rushed towards Tanzilion, the stove gate below. Rumble. But at this moment. In the ruins not far away. Suddenly there was a loud noise. Immediately afterwards. A yellow figure as fast as lightning. Then he waved the ribbon from the fallen girl. All blocked. It was my wife, Son Yi, who reappeared. Chapter 443, Beyond the Speed. Even at this moment. My wife, Shan Yi, has already been covered in bruises. But he still gritted his teeth and held on. Climbed out from under the rubble in the ruins. Such tenacity. The fallen virgin had to change his face again. Get out of here, I know your moves and what kind of speed you have. I've seen this trick several times because of this. A look of anger appeared on the face of Duji. But his eyes were extremely anxious. As I remember, I activated more than a dozen ribbons again. From all directions. A new round of fierce attack was launched on my wife, Sani Yi, in the air. Get away quickly, you ugly monster. But this time. The idea of the doomed monk spontaneously. Destined to fail. Open black lens bracket thunder breath, one type, thunder blink, speed close black lens bracket. Same move. But the difference is speed. My wife, Shani's speed suddenly increased to the extreme. It's so fast that meat eyes can't catch it at all. Even though Duji had already opened the third eye given by her brother. But I still couldn't see the knife that my wife Shani rushed towards me. My wife Shani stepped forward in the air. Under a dazzling light of lightning. Sharp blade. It was already directly slashed on the neck of Duji. And her neck. At the moment when I touched the blade, it turned into a ribbon comparable to steel. Only, this time the situation is completely different from the previous one. Because of this time, my wife, Simon Yi, was so fast. So much so that the body of the fallen girl, as he slashed, kept being dragged back. And under this rapid and extreme power, her neck, which could not be cut off by the blade, there were gradually cracks. If you can't think of a way to deal with it, probably soon, it's about to be cut off. It's so fast and hateful. Why can this guy do this? The fallen girl was shocked. But at this moment, she didn't even have the chance to call for help from her brother. She never expected it. My wife, Shan Yi, can actually have such a fast speed. And my wife, who was still slashing, was on the face of her, but full of pain. Cut it off to the end. I can only use the speed of Pai Li flashed twice, and after using my legs, I will be lost and unable to move. I just used it once to get out of the rubble, so this is the last chance. And if you miss this opportunity, you will probably never have the chance to cut off her neck. Pseudo. It was Tanjiro who created this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I must cut off her head. My wife kept encouraging herself in her heart with kindness. And at this moment, Tanjiro, the situation at the bottom of the sauna gate, it's even more unoptimistic. Chapter 444. The score is completed. The prostitute Taro was clearly paralyzed and weakened by Warani flower toxin. But even if Tanjiro Kawaman uses all his strength, cut down with all your strength, but he still kept chopping the prostitute Taro's neck. The other party's neck was too hard. Tanjiro Zaoman was extremely anxious. Because with the previous information, I'm afraid the toxins in the prostitute Taro at this moment, it has begun to gradually fail. But his current strength, still not enough to cut off the other person's neck. Could it be this time? He is doomed to fail. Sure enough. The bloody side of the UWAPOD was from the arms of the prostitute, Takaro. Spin out again. Open black lens bracket 463 Wisteria toxin close black lens bracket medicinal effect. It has obviously been broken down. Bang 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 bang. Bang 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 bang. The prostitute Taro, who had recovered from his original state, launched an extremely fierce attack on Tanjiro, the sauceman. It was in Tanjiro Kaoru's mind. They are all thinking about how to die with it. But he could only watch. Your own body, teared apart by these blood sickles. And there is nothing to do. However, just in this 1,000 pounds AHFE, a time of life and death, in the eyes of everyone, the body of Yuxi Tianyuan who has died. It rushed over. The high ring knife in his hand directly blocked the bloody side released by Proteus Taro. Not to mention Tanjiro, the sauceman. Even the prostitute Taro, opposite him. This moment was also caused by the sudden scene in front of you. Shocked on the spot. Only. The current situation of Yuxi Tianyuan. No matter how you look at it, they all look a little embarrassed. Because of his left arm. From the wrist. It has been cut off by Proteo Taro in the previous battle. The blood is still at the wound where the wrist is cut off. It kept gushing outward. Boom boom boom. The explosions continued to sound. Pungent smoke. It spread outward from the battlefield. Damn it, that guy is not dead. But his heart is not. By the way, it should be that he relies on his muscles to force his heart to stop beating, right? In this way it should be able to stop the spread of toxins when slashing. The prostitute Taro retreated suddenly. I was shocked. He didn't expect that. Yuxi Tianyuan is just a human being. He can actually have such strong physical self-control. And Yuxi Tianyuan, who rejoined the battlefield. Even though his left arm has been cut off. But he is still full of fighting spirit. Mr. Yuxi, you are not dead, it's so great. Tanjiro Kaoru saw this. His eyes suddenly turned red. Score has been completed. Let's go kill them and take this battle, right? Yuxi Tianyuan roared with full energy. Turn out to be. Yuxi Tianyuan just fell to the ground. Not really defeated. Chapter 445. What a joke. But Yuxi Tianyuan, in order to successfully complete the spectrum, and a specially planned situation, those present, in addition to Hawkeye relying on his powerful seeing and sex domineering, capturing the changes in Yuxi Tianyuan, even Zoro couldn't detect it. Not to mention the stove door Tanjiro and others. And what Yuxi Tianyuan said about spectrum tilde. It was created by him. A calculation formula for combat. Start this formula. It takes some time to analyze and synthesize. But after completion, he can pass the spectrum to interpret the rhythm of the enemy's attack movements, and thus transformed into rhythm. Whether it is a habit, still a dead corner, all can be reflected. It's like insert chords into the song. Just attack the space of the rhythm. You can hit the enemy. It's just the Yuxi Tianyuan right now, being attacked by toxins. Even against the enemy's attacks, it's already the last extreme state. It is even more difficult to aim at the other person's head. Now we can continue fighting. It's already a miracle. So, at this time, it is necessary to help Tanjiro Sawaman complete the final drama. What, are you scared by me, you guy? Let me die here today. Yuxi Tianyuan's face. A crazy smile appeared. Then the two swords danced. He launched a storm-like offensive towards Taro, the prostitute. However, these offensives of him, it was all just to cover the attack from Tanjiro Kawaman behind him. Only prostitute Taro at this moment. Obviously, I have not come back to my senses from the previous shock. He couldn't figure it out. Yuxi Tianyuan, who had clearly broken a hand. Why can I bounce all the circular slashing reverse he just released? This guy obviously only has one hand left. How did he do it? 0 katakana middle dot 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 katakana middle dot. Stop joking with me here. How could I lose to you mere humans? The prostitute Taro seemed to be angry. The bone sickle in his hand danced rapidly. A series of bloody blood sickles that were like storms rushed out. Bang 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 bang. 0. Bang 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 bang. However, without exception, Yuxi Tianyuan actually blocked all his attacks again. I have interpreted your dirty song clearly. Yuxi Tianyuan laughed heroically. He rushed forward quickly. He doesn't give the prostitute Taro too much time to think. Score. He just said it was a score. Did he record my vampire technique into music score? Is he blocking all my attacks in this way? It's impossible. What a joke. The prostitute Taro was completely angry at this time. Chapter 446. A blow for dignity. After a wild beast roar. Then he rushed forward directly to Yuxi Tianyuan. Boom boom boom. Boom boom boom. Each attack from both of them. It will inevitably be accompanied by a violent explosion. Just like the purgatory on Earth. The area where the two were located was turned into pieces of ruins. And the battle is still intensifying. 8th 27 inches. Only. As the battle continues, Yuxi Tianyuan's disadvantages gradually emerged. On his forehead and body, scars were left in many places. But even so, Yuxi Tianyuan is like exchanging life for life. Fearless. With the attack of the prostitute Taro. Continue to launch a fierce offensive. Puff puff puff. Puff puff puff. The bone sickle in the hands of the Proteo Taro pierced Yume Tenyuan's abdomen and blinded his left eye. And the sun-slashing sword in Yuxi Tianyuan's hand. He also cut off the left arm of the prostitute Taro and deeply pierced into his moon Hungarian chamber. Despite such injuries, it will not cause any fatal damage to Proteo Taro. But it can be done in a short time. Minimize his threat. This creates the best opportunity for Tanjiro Sawaman. Mr. Yuxi. Tanjiro Kaoru was instantly caught by this sudden scene in front of him. Totally shocked. But Yuxi Tianyuan's hoarse voice. But it came immediately. Don't stop, jump up. Yuxi Tianyuan, who has found the right opportunity to kill. Have used up my best ability. A chance to win this blow for Tanjiro Kaoru. This opportunity. For them. Maybe it's their last tonight. There is a chance to successfully kill the prostitute Taro. If you can't grasp it, then these people, all of them will die here tonight. And even more serious. It is the ghost-killing team they represent. It will also be destroyed by shame. In Dragon Empire. And in front of Yi Yu. Losing the last trace of dignity. Swish. Tanjiro Zaoman heard this zero. Use all the strength in your body to jump high. Towards the stern prostitute Taro. Then he waved his knife heavily. But his speed. After all, it was still half a minute slower. It's too slow. A slow turtle like you can't hit me at all. It's useless, no matter how much he gives the road, he gives you have laid out the useless things like you can't do anything at all. Quote. When I saw Tanjiro Kaoru on the opposite side, I jumped up. Although Prudo Taro was a little surprised 0.3. But he still waved his only left hand upwards. The toxic bone sickle in his hand. Then he swung towards Tanjiro Kaoru's chin. Puff. Before the high ring knife was swung down in Tanjiro Kaoru's hand. The bone side in the hands of the prostitute Taro. It had pierced his jaw. Chapter 447 Comparison between the two worlds. It's over, everything is over. A sinister smile appeared on the prostitute Taro's face. Unscrupulously smirked. These toxins alone can poison you. However. Tanjiro, Kawaman in midair. But he did not give up. He kept shouting in his heart. Cut down, cut off his neck. I will never give up. I must cut off his neck. Tanjiro Zaoman knew very well. This is their last chance. It is also the last chance everyone has created for him. At this moment. For yourself. 07 for the sister. For Yuxi Tianyuan and others. For Ghost Kill Team. In order to surpass Yi Yu's dream. Tanjiro Zaoman forgot the pain. Forgot death. A force burst out from his body several times that of the past. He waved his knife to slash the prostitute Taro's neck. For Umi Tianyuan, Zaoman Tanjiro and others. The most painful thing they are. Even the prostitute Taro can fight them. You can also control his sister. Launch a ribbon attack. He can handle the transformation with his sister freely. And with this. Get huge amount of information. And make the most appropriate decision. Even if no one teaches it. Taro, a prostitute, can also understand these strategies. And he also has an extremely excellent feeling. This is also the most fundamental reason why he was able to successfully advance to Winding Land. The erosion of powerful toxins. It made Tanjiro Zaoman, Umi Tianyuan and others. He has been forced into an absolute disadvantage several times. Only. Every time someone barely supported it. This can lead to the past and the future. Create opportunities for the battle situation. Thus through that difficult period. So. Even though they compare their strength with the prostitute Taro. There is an extremely huge gap. But with the transition from offense to defense. Yuxi Tianyuan and the others. I have also gradually become accustomed to this kind of high-speed combat. Failed once. As long as there is a second chance. Then they can handle it. This is the progress of mankind. And at this moment, Tanjiro. That's the case. even though the bone scythe in the hands of the prostitute Taro had pierced his jaw. And the toxins are still rapidly in his blood. It spreads rapidly towards the whole body. 577. But he tried his best to swing the final blow. This scene. Even though Hawkeye and Zoro, who were standing on the high tower in the distance, met. I couldn't help but look at it. Although the human physique in this world, it is much weaker than the pirate world they live in. And their weapons and physical skills, in addition to being specially used to restrain the functions of ghosts, it is far less than Hawkeye, Zoro and others. The famous sword and physical techniques used, it can even be said to be very different. Chapter 448 The Power of the Markings. But I have to say, the bodies of these young men, including Tanjiro, Satoman, the kind of struggle you have to the end, the momentum of fearlessness, more or less, it can still impress Hawkeye and Zoro. Only, just with the fearless aura of death, maybe it can hang above this world. But if placed in pirate world, but I can't play it at all. Let's not talk about powerful people like the King's 7 Marshal C and the 4 Emperors. I'm afraid even if it is those supernova with bounty of over 100 million yuan. All can be in this world. Of course, these people meet the most powerful too in Winding. And Ghost King Gui Wei is bound to die. If it's so easy to win, I guess I won't send Kizaru as the commander. And let Hawkeye and Zoro take the lead. Back to the battlefield again. Facing the hard cut by Tanjiro Kaoru. The look on the prostitute Taro's face. It finally changed. This idiot on the other side. He is still waving his sword at the moment of life and death. He couldn't cut off my neck just now. This idiot. Is it in his heart? Do you really have no idea at all? I will tear him to pieces later. And Tanjiro, the sauceman. Having put all your mind. All of them are used to cut off the enemy's head. If the strength of the arm alone is not enough, then what you need to borrow is to use the power of your body to cut. Take the strength from head to toe. Make use of them all. If you can't forget the pain in your body, seize the opportunity now. I'm afraid the elder is no chance again. Now he doesn't just need to use all his strength. I also want to squeeze out 100 times the strength before. Only by killing it smoothly. The winding ghost on the opposite side is far stronger than all of them. Faced with the threat of death, Tanjiro Kaoru didn't hesitate at all. He knows. This will be the last chance for those of them. It was also the last chance everyone created for him. At this moment, under the control of powerful thoughts, Tanjiro Sakaman forgot the pain in his body. Forgot my fear of death. He actually squeezed out 100 times stronger power from his body. Even the scars on his forehead. It gradually changes from shallow to deep. It quickly transformed into flame-like markings. After the strength is increased exponentially. The bone scythe that was stabbed in the jaw by the prostitute Taro before was actually bounced out. And the hydron knife in his hand is young. It also gradually tore open the other party's steel. A hard neck. No, it doesn't matter if your neck is really cut off by this little devil. As long as my sister's neck is fine, I will seize the time and clean up these two guys who are in trouble here first. Chapter 449 Immortal Wild Boar. Feeling the prostitute Taro whose neck is about to be cut off. It seems that he still doesn't give up. Because he knows. As long as my sister Shuji's neck is not cut off, then he will not die. Even if you lose your head, it can also be regenerated. Although my sister is for him. Not the last trump card. But at least it was equivalent to providing him with an extra life. And Taro, a prostitute, can be completely able to regenerate his head during this period. Using headless corpses. Kill Umi Tianyuan and Tanjiro Zaoman. Especially the hateful little guy Tanjiro, the sauceman. It made the prostitute Taro furious. Not to mention, there was also a swordsman with an extremely strong strength of 030 in the distance. The prostitute Taro dared not drag it too much. Although he didn't know for what reason, the other party did not choose to take action. But it is a huge threat after all. Have to be careful. However, the scheming prostitute Taro never expected it. His sister at this moment. He also faces the same situation as the prostitute Taro. Meanwhile on the other side, the stalemate between my wife's kindness and the fallen girl continues. Although my wife, Shang Yi, is still fast at this moment. But the force. However, it has already experienced a significant attenuation. No way. Even if he can practice one move to the pinnacle. But the upper limit of human physique. But he was destined to not be able to use this move for a long time. Damn it, I'm almost out of strength. My wife Shani's face was filled with pain. But there is no way. If he stops now, then all previous efforts will be wasted. He naturally knew the serious consequences of doing so. So, even if it's dead now, he could only grit his teeth and hold on. Ha 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 ha, stupid guy, I will chop you into powder before you cut off my neck. Abi. The frightened expression on the face of the Fulgami. It gradually turned into a fearless grin. I immediately controlled the dozens of ribbons behind me. A fatal attack on my wife with kindness. However, at this critical moment, a rough figure, waving his two swords from the periphery to break into the enemy. He directly cut off all the ribbons released by the Fulgami. Suddenly before the official, the two of them mistakenly thought that they had long been dead. What the hell is going on with this guy? He was obviously pierced by his brother before. Why can you still be alive? At this moment, the Duoji was shocked and confused. Compared to my wife, she is actually more afraid of this. The guy who once cut her head off directly. It seems that I can see the doubts in Duoji's heart. While Inosuke was shaking his swords, he shouted with pride. Don't underestimate the flexibility of my body. For me, changing the position of internal organs, it's a piece of cake. Chapter 450 Double Slashes and Winds. And I grew up in the steep mountains since I was a child. I have never seen any poison. You know, the poisons in the mountains are far more dangerous than you stinky ghosts. As the words fell, the double swords in the assistant of Inanna. He had already chopped hard on the neck of the Soji who turned into satin. The sword blade of kindness with my wife. It is superimposed on the opposite direction at the same time. The prostitute Taro's attack before, he penetrated his. He couldn't kill him at all. Ah. 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 The roars of Tanjiro, Kohei Inosuke, and my wife Simone. At this moment, it resounds through the sky. The night sky was filled with the horror of the Fulgen screams. And the prostitute Taro. That incredible scream. It also swung away in the night sky. Puff. Puff. Two streams of blood came between the necks of prostitutes, Taro and the Fulheim. It soared into the sky. And their heads. As the sword blade fell. And throw it high. Finally it fell to the ground like a ball. After several rolls. The heads of the two men of the Fulcator and the prostitute Taro. They actually got together face to face. I really didn't expect they actually succeeded. Zoro standing on the roof in the distance. He stared at the battlefield that had come to an abrupt end in the distance with disbelief. It seems to be a little unbelievable. This scene in front of you. Only. Then his face. Then he showed a look of interest. Pointing at Tanjiro, who was sitting on the ground with no power, said. Mr. Mihawk, you probably saw it too. The changes that the kid had just made on his forehead, it should be His Majesty Yu. He had reminded us of spots before, right? If nothing unexpected happens, that should be it. Hawkeye still looks concise and concise. 0 katakana middle dot 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 katakana middle dot. Only. In his sharp pupils. There was also a look of interest. Just now, Tanjiro Kawaman was in a crisis. It actually burst out several times the power that was in its heyday. This is a great concern for Hawkeye. Only. When he recalled what Yu once said. After turning on spot text, lifespan will be reduced dramatically. It is generally difficult to live beyond 30 years old. Hawkeye suddenly became a little interested. If it comes at the cost of consuming life. And the extra power you get. For a strong man like Hawkeye. There is no meaning at all. Because of the power of not long-term. To be precise. It cannot be considered its own strength. But Hawkeye also wants to find a chance. Study the secrets about spots well. If you can find something. So. For him. It can also be considered a considerable gain. Knife.